What's up, Echu? For today's video, with a Slugma evolution team, I'll be using Slugma and Magcargo in today's video. Now, Slugma and Magcargo, you probably don't really get to see them very often. They aren't the strongest Pokemon, but they do have some pretty cool shinies, I have to admit. Does anyone out there like Slugma or Magcargo, or is it anyone's favorite Pokemon? Does anyone out there exist? Let me know in the comment section. Tell me all about Slugma and Magcargo, and I'm going to say this joke right before anyone says it, right? Slugma balls. There you go. I said it so no one can say that joke in the comment section. I'll be very upset if you do. All right, let's start this battle. So we've got a couple of random battles today. We've got 6 battles at this team. So, obviously, Slugma and Magcargo are not the strongest Pokemon. They do have somewhat sweeping capabilities on the Magcargo, but it's very, very difficult to do because they're quite slow in their speed stat. And when I say slow, they really, really are. You're looking at a speed base of 30. So, my first Slugma set is going to be a Memento, Weak Armor, Yawn, Protect and Pain Split set. So, this was purely designed to put the opponent to sleep, and if they do swap, I generally have the weak armor off, and then I can use Memento to try and set up my Magcargo. Now, I've got a good story for you guys about Magcargo, but I'm going to tell it during the video, right? It's a thrilling tale. I may have told it 100 times, but I'm going to tell it again. So Magcargo is going to be a Shell Smash set. This is definitely the best Magcargo set that you want to use for sweeping, if you do want to use Magcargo. Had the most success for this one. So this Magcargo is going to be a Shell Smash set. So it does get Shell Smash, which is a really, really good move for it. The problem is, as I mentioned, with such a low base speed stat, typically you want to get a weak armor off as well, which requires you to get hit there with a move. So that's the weakness of it. So we've got Shell Smash, Flamethrower, Ancient Power, and Terra Blast. I've got Terra Blast Grass, and I've got White Herb as the item. Max Special Attack and Max Speed, Timid Nature. So we got Ogerpon swapping out there, and we got Arceus Grass coming in here. I was like, this is good, right? So Ancient Power, you wouldn't read about it, gets an Omni Boost, like right away. So I couldn't believe this getting a Shell Smash and an Omni Boost. That was sort of like the whole stick with this build. So I was like, well, since it's definitely going to be a 2-hit KO now, I may as well go for another one, and that is the end of Gracias. So what a great start to the battle there. Don't know what my opponent's trainer name is, so if anyone would like to translate these trainer names, it's always very much appreciated. Now, Dialga's pretty thick, so I'm going to go for Flamethrower here, and it took it out. So things are going really, really well. Arceus is down. Dialga's down from Magcargo, only on PIMPNITE Shuttle. Next Pokemon, we got... Oh, no, the trainer's name was Mallow. Sorry, I was looking at the Pokemon. The trainer's name is Mallow. Now, I don't have a lot to hit this with. I thought, well, since I've got an Ancient Power boost, a Shell Smash up, the sun's up, how about I go for Flamethrower and see how much I can do? That's pretty much my best bet here. Now, I ran a combination of either Terra Blast Grass or Terra Water. Both of them are pretty good, well, are the best Terras for Magcargo, because Magcargo is 4 times weak against water. It's 4 times weak to ground, so it's very good, one of those 2 Terra options to go for, and they're both good defensive options too. So Flamethrower only just narrowly misses the KO there on Kottmeistern, but I actually managed to live the attack, the collision course, which is really cool. One thing about Magcargo that is in its favor, it actually has a really nice defensive stat of 120, and since that was a neutral hit from Kottmeistern, I was actually able to live it really, really badly. So we've got a Magcargo sweep going on at the moment. Out comes Serpenty. Not really sure how to say that. It was level 89, so I'm like, well, that's going to get clapped with it as level 89, level 100, or level 1. A Terra Blast Grass is going to be easy enough to take that one out. I'm going to outspeed this entire team too. Next Pokemon is going to be Terrapagus, and then we've got Ogerpon Half Flame as well. I've still got 2 more Pokemon on my team at the moment. Now, I've got Flamethrower. I thought, well, Flamethrower is going to be really, really good. It's my most powerful move. And they also went for Terra here. There was one problem, though. It was good that they didn't have their Terra Shell ability, but it was also bad because with its transformation, Terraform Zero, that actually got rid of the sunlight. So that essentially powered down my flamethrower and caused them to live. I'm like, oh, are you serious? So that's going to be the end of the Magcargo there. I was stopped short of a sweep, which was very, very close. I think that I've done a Magcargo sweep on my channel. I think I have. Double, you know, my real avid PIMPNITE viewers, double check me on that one, but I believe that I have. Hopefully I have. Next Pokemon is going to be Slugma. This is my bulky Slugma. And this actually has a really nice shiny. It's like a silvery shiny, which does actually suit it. So we've got Stellar, Water Pulse, and this is really tanky, this Slugma. Now, the bad thing is I did get confused here by Water Pulse. Let me tell you what the Slugma's spread is here. So we've got Max Elf, obviously. We've got Everlight. I've got Lava Plume on there as well. Recover Amnesia, Acid Armor. Flame Body is the ability. And we've got Calm Nature, 252 in special defense. The last 4 in defense there. So trying to make it like bulky, especially. Last Pokemon is going to be the Sleeping Ogerpon, this is a non-restriction battle, by the way, so that meant any level was open, but you know most of their team was level 100 anyway. It didn't really make any of a difference. So I'm going to swap out the Magcargo, the Slugma, and go into Magcargo. We're Magcargo, and this is a Shell Smash set as well, but this one is actually a physical set. So I figured they'd probably try and have a run at using Low Kick again because it is super effective. And that's going to activate my Weak Armor, so giving me a much needed speed boost. So obviously after a Shell Smash, if I didn't get that ability to activate, I would have fainted and got outsped because it's just so slow. This one is pretty much the same sort of set, except it's physical. So we got Jolly Nature, Max Speed, Max Attack. Terra-type Grass as well. Loaded Dice Rock Blast on top of that too. And that was going to be more than enough to take out the Ogerpon. And that is the end of the first battle. So sadly, I missed out on the Magcargo sweep there. But we'll just pretend it was a Magcargo sweep because, both the Magcargos swept the last 2 Pokemon. See what I did there? All right, let's get on to battle number 2. This is a random battle again. We've got lots of random battles today. This one is against Willis. Now, this was a 4v4 battle. They only brought 4 Pokemon along, which is cool, so they wanted to try and challenge themselves. Now, Dashbun is actually quite good for this team because of its ability Well-Baked Body. Also, having access to move like Body Press, which is super effective against my Magcargo, was a bit of a problem. So I decided to swap it to my Slugma to tank it, and maybe in hopes that I would get a burn. And I did get one on the first, so that was quite good. So this Pokemon can't do a lot outside of just doing, Body Press, right? So it's going to go for another Body Press. That one was actually a critical hit, and I went for the Recover here. Now, they don't know that I only have Lava Plume as an attacking move. I sort of want them to swap out here so I can start using that. Now, this Slugma actually caused a lot of people some problems here, as you'll get to see in this battle. And I think that Magcargo is in definite need of another form, a buff, or a mega, because it needs more speed, in its speed stat. I think it's a cool Pokemon and stuff. I guess you could compare it to, Mega, I guess Camera Up, like Numel and Camera Up, and that got a Mega Camera Up, so you could have like Slugma and Magcargo, then Mega Magcargo. So that could be, I don't know, it needs something, right? It's got a lot of quad weaknesses too. So swapping out into my other Slugma, into my Magcargo, we got Fido swapping out into Toedscruel here. Now, Toedscruel, I know, is going to use something like Earth Power or a ground move, so I went into my bulky Slugma here. So we've got a Terra here. And I was interested to see what it was actually going to be. And it was going to be Terra Poison. So Terra Poison is actually not a bad offensive one, and they've got Earth Power too. That did a lot of damage. The only reason I lived that is because I was running max special defense. So I managed to get a Lava Plume off, and it did donkey. So This is the Pokemon to feint here, this Toadstool, because it counters my team really, really well. And I don't really have too much to use against it. So I thought, all right, I'm going to try and do something here. So swapping into my physical set, we've got Shell Smash and I've got Flare Blitz and Rock Blast too. So I thought that wouldn't be bad to try and get a physical attack on it. Because Toadstool has a big special defense attack. I think it's like 120 off the top of my head. And its defense is, I think it's like 60, between 60, 65, 70, something like that. So this physical set is going to do a lot of damage. Well, that was the idea anyway. So typically I'd try, if I was going to Terra, I'd typically try and use my special set because generally it was more powerful, you know. So I've got Flare Blitz, I've got Rock Blast. I thought, I guess I may as well go for Flare Blitz here. This will do some good damage. It may even take it out. And it did. It took it out, which was really, really cool. That's the end of Toadstool. So I'm very glad I had a physical Magcargo there because I think I would have, I believe I would have lost there for sure. Next Pokemon we got is going to be Vikavolt. So like, ooh, I've got Rock Blast, but then they did a double swap. I'm like, why? They tried to bait me with Flare Blitz. Now, I knew they were trying to do there, but I didn't want to risk anything at all because what they tried to do there is they tried to bait that fire move, and then that would have given them defensive boost there for their body press. So I managed to hit them with a full load of Rock Blasts here. Rock Blast doing some really, really good damage, landing 5 times. So they're on the last little bit of health here. I've got Terra Blast Grass and I've got Rock Blast here. So I thought, well, I guess I could go Terra Blast Grass. There's no risk, to go for that. I definitely wasn't going to take the bait with Flare Blitz, that's for sure. All right, Madeline. Isn't that like a TV show I used to watch when I was a kid? It was like she was like in Paris or something. I forget. I was very, very young there. You guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm probably too old for that sort of stuff, you know. Next Pokemon we got is going to be Sneasel. And that's got a very, very fast attack. And it's got close combat. So this is bad because did you see how they outsped my Shell Smash set there? That's the problem with this Pokemon. Even after a Shell Smash, it's not fast. And if it doesn't get that, ability, the weak armor to activate, it's very bad. So I've got Slugma. This is a Focus Sash set, and you'll be surprised how well this worked against a lot of teams. So I've got Yawn, Memento, Protect, and Pain Spit. So I thought, what's the worst thing that could happen here? I can make them swap, and then I can get a Shell Smash. I was thinking about this for a bit. Do I go for Yawn or do I just go for like Memento? So Gunk Shot is going to miss here. Obviously not risking the Flame Body. This one doesn't have Flame Body though, but of course they didn't know that. And I decided to go for Memento. I thought that's a good idea to go for that because that'll definitely cause a swap, or at worst, it'll be a weakened attack. So in comes Magcargo. I'm definitely set up here to go for Shell Smash. And I don't think they're going to swap out either because, I mean, Vikavolt's going to get absolutely destroyed. So close combat still does a lot of damage, definitely. But that Memento allowed me to live that because, yeah, I wasn't living that close combat, no way. So White Herb is going to activate there. That actually got rid of my defensive drop, and I had the Shell Smash up there. So now I've got a lot of speed, which is really, really good because Magcargo absolutely needs that. It really does. So that's +4 speed there. So Shell Smash plus the weak armor. So now I was like, do you have Focus Sash? So I went for Flamethrower. I was like, I've got to burn them here. And it didn't have a Focus Sash. I'm like, that's good. The last Pokemon on their team is Vikavolt. So it's like, does Vikavolt have Focus Sash? You know, like, I mean, it's possible. I've got Ancient Power. I thought about this a bit. Like, what would be the better move? Ancient Power? Nah. Let's go Flamethrower. I might get a burn if it does have one, but it didn't. And that is the end of the Vikavolt there. But that was a really cool battle. Taking to my random opponent there. Was actually a very, very evenly matched battle because there were some good counters there. And, you know, I was strong against a few Pokemon, but then they had a couple of good counters against me, so it was fun. All right, third battle here. This one is against Nevermore, and their first Pokemon is going to be a Zangoose called Grumpy Cat. If you enjoy the videos, people, and you want to support the channel, hit that like button. Tell me what you think about Magcargo or Slugma, or lo and behold, is it anyone's favorite Pokemon of all time? Does that person exist in the comments that's watching this video? I want to know. All right, so Zangoose is going to go for a close combat. You know, it was cutting it pretty close, and I've got that live and I've got the weak armor. Now, possibly, you know what I like to do sometimes? I'd like to go Pain Split, get all the health back and do some damage, and then go Memento. But this time I just went for Memento because I was a little bit scared they might have like Sword Dance or Belly Drum, something crazy like that. You never know, right? So I didn't want to take a risk there. So I played it pretty careful. So I've got I thought the worst case scenario, I can swap in Magcargo, I can go for Shell Smash, and they will probably activate my ability for me, and then we can sort of get rolling from there. That was the, that was the idea anyway. So we got that Terra Grass, which is good. Here comes the close. Actually, it's very, very similar to the last battle with the, the Sneasel, Jesus Sneasel. So they've got another special defense drop. They had one from earlier on. Wait, Zangoose isn't a cat. It's a mongoose, isn't it? Okay, they must have just tried to. I mean, it does have. I guess you could say it does have feline sort of characteristics. I guess like the face and the claws and stuff. But I'm pretty sure it's Zangoose mongoose. You know, that's what it is, right? You know, correct me if I'm wrong. So I've got Flamethrower and Ancient. I did actually contemplate going for Ancient Powers. I'm going to do that because it's got a special defense like ×2 drop. But I never got the boost this time. I was really hoping for one there because there were some pretty bulky Pokemon on the team. Next Pokemon is going to be Trevenant. Trevenant's got such a nice shiny. It's going to be up there with some of the best shinies for that gem. I'm going to cook that. Professor Oak's going to get cooked, and that is 2 Pokemon down. I wasn't really concerned about Trevenant at all. Next Pokemon is Mazzy Star. I don't know what even some of these names even mean. And it's a Zacian, but it's not Crown Zacian. So I thought, I'll go for Flamethrower here. Let's see how much that does. And it leaves it pretty well. They're going to go for Giga Impact. What the heck? And it actually takes me out. I was like, uh-oh. So that's the end of my Magcargo. I was thinking, what am I going to do here? I guess I've got my other Magcargo, which I can probably set up against it. At least I've got one turn, but I wasn't sure what other moves it would have. I mean, at least it wasn't a Crown Zacian, but it still was threatening. Now I thought, for all my Shell Smashes, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to outspeed this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them hit me first, because I really don't want to drop my stats. So they went for close combat, and they dropped me a one-shot. Could I have gone for Shell Smash there? Sure, but I wouldn't have outsped them the next turn. I thought it was better that I got hit, activated my ability, then I went Shell Smash that turn. But alas, I didn't live, so that's how it goes. So I've got one more Slugma left. Now, this was a slug. I mean a slog, right? So Giga Impact almost decimates Slugma. This turn, I went for an Acid Armor. So this is going to give you a real good show of what bulky Slugma can do. Only on PIMPNITE channel here. So the cool thing about Slugma and Magcargo, they do have Recover, which is a great recovery move. So this thing kept spamming Giga Impact over and over, so I don't think they had much to hit me with outside of a neutral move. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still doing lots of damage there. So I was living, but only just. I really, really needed a +6 in defense, with Acid Armors up. Then I thought, if I can build my Acid Armors up, then I can build my Amnesias up. But I would need to take this out first, or probably burn it. So I went for my 3rd Acid Armor here. So now I'm at +6, and I've got Lava Plume. I was like, this is good. If I can get a heal off here, and then go for Lava Plume and burn Zacian, that's effectively shut it down, even if it gets like a lucky crit. So I went for the Lava Plume here. They've got close combat as well, so that's another powerful move. I was hoping, well, maybe my ability will activate, and Flame Body activates. So I'm like, okay, perfect. That's really, really good. Now, since I did use close combat, that's going to make them easier to feint. But I thought, there's no point in me feinting this Zacian just yet, because it's kind of close to feinting already, but I can actually use this as an opportunity to set up my Amnesias as well. So I can get 3 amnesias up, and I've got 3 acid armors up too. So even a little Pokemon like Slugma with, like, let's be real, terrible bulk is going to be really tanky. And I've got Recover as well to recover off all my, all the damage and stuff like that, which is really, really good. I just had to make sure that I didn't use, Recover's only got 8 PP, so I had to be very, very careful. Then I got credited by Crunch there, which really sucked, and I got a defense drop too. So that was almost game over there, So I was like, well, I was very, very close. So if I didn't have that burn from Flame Body, I would have lost there to that Crunch crit. See, so I've got 4 recovers left, and remember I've still got 3 more Pokemon left, and there's some bulky Pokemon left on their team. So now they're going to keep going for Crunch, obviously trying to drop my defense. I went for Acid Armor here. I had to have that at max, Very, very important. So that is the end of Zacian. Or Mazzy Star. No, I have no idea what that means. Sorry, I just needed a drink there. Go rehydrate. Next Pokemon is Lugia. Look at this. So this went for... Okay, so this had Hydro Pump. And thank goodness I had all my amnesia up. So you're probably wondering, how are you going to take this Lugia out? There's only one way. Through Lava Plume and Burn, right? And I was like, do I have enough PP, to get through this battle? I mean, I've got 23 Lava Plumes, but the moment I run out, I'm in a lot of trouble, And the moment I run out of Recover, I'm also in trouble too. So at this stage, I had to be very, very careful when I use Recover. I had to make sure I got the most out of it. So this Lugia is using Sky Attack. Sky Attack at least is a physical move, so it's not going to do any damage. But then they actually got a flinch against me, but that was good because I got some burn damage here. So we got some more repeated Hydro Pumps from Lugia here. But anyway, why Slugma is getting some dubs here? Let me tell you a story. It's very, very good. So we've we've talked about Slugma, had a couple of Slugma jokes there, and now we're gonna have a Magcargo one. So one day, right, I went to the shopping store. It was pretty overcast, getting pretty dark at night time, but I had to go down to the shopping store to get something, right? So I go in there, I get what I need to get, and I come out. And it's pitch black, right? It's really, really dark outside. And the car park is very, very full too because, on these sort of longer days, people like to go to the shops because they're open for a longer amount of time. So I walked out there and I was like, wait, where's my cargo? I can't find it right. I seriously couldn't find it. So I looked around for the fiery snail, but I couldn't find it. It was nowhere to be seen. So what I was doing, right, I grabbed my car keys and I grabbed my door opener and I started spamming it, right. So I was looking for lights flashing. So when you press your button on your car and they flash a bit, so I was like, this is going to be my best way to find it. So I walked down like 10 different rows of cars to find it, and I got like 3 times I got tricked because there was other people going to their car or coming out of their car. And look, it must have looked like I was trying to break into someone's car, but I was just trying to find my own. But eventually, in the end, I found the Magcargo and I zoomed right off. So there's your story. I hope you enjoyed that one about where my car go. All right, so next Pokemon, we've got a Charizard now. The walls didn't stop here, right? I've taken, but just have a look. I've taken a Zacian and a Lugia with just Lava Plume. So unfortunately for Charizard, I couldn't burn it at all. So I actually had to rely on raw damage from my Slugma. And as you can see, I was getting low on PP. I had 2 recovers left. I was like, what do I do here? I have to keep attacking. Okay, so, and there's one more Pokemon still to come as well, which is a very, very bulky Pokemon too. So I'm going for Lava Plume here on the Charizard. Unfortunately, no one ever brings the rare shiny Charizard anymore, They always bring that, they never bring that orange one, It's always the same one all the time. Just a normal black one. The orange one is the rare one, right? So they're repeatedly firing Dragon Pulses at me. And I finally got Charizard down to a low amount of health here. Like, the PP was getting drastically low as well. That's not something you want. So Charizard finally, I wonder what they were thinking. They've lost Zacian, Lugia, and Charizard to a Slugma. Last Pokemon is Marshmallows, and this is the problem because it's Terrapagus. I'm like, oh nah, this is gonna be bad, right? So I'm going to go for Lava Plume straight away. It's like, I have to get a burn on this right now. And then I can probably use my last recover. That's going to be it. I have to conserve this. And I know they're going to get a little stellar boost as well. So first move they use is Earth Power. I was really, really worried about this. Slugma eats it like a snack, so that's good, right? But they got a special defense drop. I was like, damn it. So go for Lava Plume here. Pretty fat damage. I got a crit, but no burn. I actually wanted the burn more. Here comes the Water Pulse. So they had the whole repertoire ready to hit me with super effective moves. Now I went Amnesia because I was a bit scared about that special defense drop. So I went for that and I thought, I've got nothing to lose. Now they've got Terra Starstorm. So they've used 3 different kinds of moves on me here. And Slugma doesn't take a lot of damage there. Now I'm going to use my final... Well, that was my final recover. Yeah, pretty much my final recover there. Yep, as you can see, it's all gone. All 8 of them are gone. And they're going to keep spamming Earth Power. And they got another special defense drop. So I'm like, all right, at this stage, I've still got +5 in special, my special defense. I'm good. Then I got the burn. I'm like, yes, this is good. I've got them now. I've got them on the ropes. All I got to do is just press the A button. So now they're going to use Water Pulse again. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a really, really weak attack. And then they critted me after all that work of taking out a Zacian, a Lugia, a Charizard. They got so lucky, bro. I'm so salty about this. I got beaten by a Terrapagus called Marshmallows. It's probably some 9-year-old who was laughing. That's the end of the battle, guys. I tried so hard there. That Slugma was a goat, though. But just that one crit, I knew it was going to happen. That's the problem with all those sets. When they get critted, it's bad. But GG's there. Let's get on to battle number 4. I'm totally not salty or anything. All right, we got a battle. I have no idea what the trainer name is, but they've got a Golem Alola. So Slugma's going to be my first Pokemon of choice here. And they also brought 4 Pokemon too. So my first move was to use Yawn on Golem. Now, Golem is actually not going to play any games here. It's just going to go for a Roar Explosion. Now, I would have liked to see their reaction when they seen that Slugma live with a Focus Sash. That was some pure assault right there. Now, the cool thing is, since they did use that, I actually got a weak armor there. It didn't pop up, but I must have just cut it a little bit before that, but I did get weak armor. So out comes Chien Pao. Now, this has a ton of priority moves. And it's not like I wanted to swap either. So I was like, all right, I'll just go for Pain Split, but they still outsped me. So that's the end of Slugma there. Slugma's got 20 base speed, by the way, just so you know. I was running max speed. What was I running again? It was like some crappy set. I was like max speed and max. It was just max speed. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was max speed and max defense, I think it was. All right, so into the bulky Slugma. Incredible damage there from Slugma, but I didn't get the burn, which sucks. I really, really wanted that burn. Slugma actually has a pretty good special attack stat. It's got 70 base. So sadly, both my Slugmas are gone. Things are not looking good. So I've got Magcargo here. Now, the problem about this is, if I go Terra Grass, and for some reason out of nowhere, they go for an Ice move, I'm going to faint. But I have to do it because I need that neutral hit, because Sacred Sword will demolish me, right? Especially with Chien Pao's ability. I know that Magcargo has got a good defensive stat, but it's a Chien Pao, right? I can't play any games. So we're going to go for that Terra Grass. Now, I thought about this, well, if I get Shell Smash up, they hit me with Sacred Sword, that will be pretty good there. I've got enough speed to get around it, but they do still have access to Ice Shard and Sucker Punch too, but I didn't know if they had them or not, or if they just had, other stab moves like Ice Crash. Because sometimes it can, or sometimes it can have Sucker Punch, but then other times it won't have Sucker Punch, it will have Ice Shard instead, so you never know. You can run all those sorts of moves here. So I've got Rock Blast and Terra Blast. I was like, I don't really want to show them that I've got Terra Blast Grass, so I took a bit of a risk here, and I landed. So I was like, that's good. That's the end of Chien Pao. So I got a really necessary crit there as well. So half the team is now gone, which is nice. And the next Pokemon is Zamazenta. So Zamazenta is pretty bulky. Sadly, Sadly, I've got the physical set. If I had the special set, this would be no worries at all. So I went for Flare Blitz. It was a very, very valiant effort there, but sadly, Zamazena's defense is really high, and upon swapping in, it got a +1 of defense there. So unfortunately, it was not enough to actually live that. However, they're going to go Behemoth Bash there and take out Magcargo. So all I've got left is my special Magcargo, and that's virtually. I also got a burn there on Flare Blitz too. That's where I got that burn on Flare Blitz, which was huge, right? Because that means I won't get one shot at. So like, this is great, right? I'll go for Shell Smash. They body pressed me. I lived, which is great, and they actually activated weak armor too. So I'm like, this is really good. Like, the hope is still alive here. So White Herb actually. Well, it wasn't actually that good that worked first. It's better if you get Shell Smash than White Herb, and then, but since Magcargo's so slow, that's just, the way the cookie crumbled there. So I've got those boosts up. I've got all those speed boosts. I know that I can outspeed Zamazenta now, and I've also got Flamethrower too to take this this Pokemon out. It only has a little bit of health anyway. So I guess in hindsight, I definitely could have gone for the other Magcargo, and I could have taken out Zamazenta, but it's still all right. It still wasn't a bad effort. So one more Pokemon left on their team, and the last Pokemon is Umbreon. So Umbreon, as you know, is very, very bulky, and we've got a Terrarius. I'm like, it's probably just going to be like Terra Poison or maybe Terra Dark, and it was Stellar. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll admit I didn't expect Stellar on Umbreon. No. So with all my speed boost and special attack boost, I'm going to actually hit it really hard. So it's a solid 2 hit K. Then I got a burn as well. Umbreon had synchronized, but since I'm already a fire type, it didn't work on me. And then they went Terra Blast. I'm like, gee, wait on a sec. This is not going to really do very much if it's physical. And it doesn't take out my Magcargo. And I got another weak armor as well, which is hilarious. So that, I believe that burn actually helped twice. One against Zamazenta with a Flare Blitz, and another one against the Umbreon with Terra Blast. I'm not saying it was super effective, but I still think that should have taken out Magcargo after a Shell Smash, right? So I'm going to finish it off with a Flamethrower, and that is the end of a game there. That was crazy. Like, those two burns, getting them at, I don't know, just the perfect time on both. Like, I never would have won if I didn't get, like, both of those, really. That was a really cool game. Thank you, my random opponent. At least they didn't DC. They played the whole battle out, too. Got to respect that. All right, we got battle number 5 here. This is another random battle, and we have got a Haunter lead. So, like, ooh. So, Haunter. So, we got Slugma here as the lead. So, this is my more bulky set. Now, I smelled a bit of a rat here. I was like, you're probably going to have Destiny Bond. But then he used Phantom Force. Like, that's a physical set. Okay. I went for Amnesia because I naturally thought they'd just, have a run at using Shadow Ball or whatever like that. So, since they did use that, I thought, well, I will use Acid Armor here, right? Phantom Force actually crits me. I was like, damn. He's just got attack EV. Instead of PIMPNITE. Have they been watching a PIMPNITE video? So I've got that Acid Armor up. Here comes Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch you don't get to see very often. It's a ghost type movement. It's a punching move, obviously, and it can't miss. But the base power is pretty shoddy. It's like 60. So now Haunter's going to use Sludge Bomb. Thank goodness I had those Amnesias up there. I was able to tank that, but I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to live this now. So I went for a cover. Here comes the Shadow Ball. I lived that Shadow Ball. Those +4 in special defense and Everlight actually enabled me to live that. So here we've got a Haunter going for repeated Shadow Balls here against my Slugma. Now, what I was doing here, I was getting all my stats set up again. Now, it may be a Haunter. I was like, usually I wouldn't do this against a Haunter. I mean, I didn't feel the need to set all my stats up. But they had some very, very powerful Pokemon after this Haunter, trust me. So this is why I thought it'd be a good time to set it up. They also got a couple of lucky crits in between it as well, doing that. I was also worried I was going to get poisoned by Sludge Bomb at the same time. So I'm really trying my best here to get my stats up as quick as possible and then fake them with, like, Lava Plume or whatever. So I've got 3 Amnesias up, which is going to make me very, very bulky now. So they're going to keep going for Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball had a chance of dropping special defense too, and it didn't miss. So I guess that's, well, they'll probably go for it. So Lava Plume is going to take out the Haunter, which is good. So bye-bye Haunter. Now, the next Pokemon I come out here is also going to be a ghost variety. It's a Gengar. So I was like, what the heck? So they got Haunter and Gengar. Now, I've been around for a while, guys, and I smell a rat here, right? You watch this. So Gengar, which was sus, use Icy Wind. I'm like, why are you using Icy Wind for? I know you've got better moves than that. So I smelled a rat. Straight away, I smelled a rat, right? My PIMPNITE sensors were, alarm bells are ringing in my ears. So I thought, all right. They went Icy Wind again. I'm like, why are you using Icy Wind for? So I went Amnesia again. I just thought this would be a great time to max my stats. Now, Gengar is going to keep going Icy Wind over and over again, which is doing like 3 damage. And I'm already the speed of a snail anyway. You see what I did there? Now I went for the Lava Plume. Gengar's got Destiny Bond. I knew they had Destiny Bond. They wanted, they sort of were holding it back there before using it. However, Lava Plume is not a 2-hit KO. And then I had my Lava Plume freaking curse bodies. And then the Gengar had a Citrus Berry there as well. So I couldn't do anything at all. I literally could do nothing. So I was like, I guess I'll just use Acid Armor here. Then speaking of Acid Armor, the opponent uses Acid Spray. So Acid Spray Gengar. I was like, okay, I really need to use Amnesia. I need to get these boosts back because I'm sure if they got Shadow Ball, this would be bad getting hit by that. So now they've dropped 4 of my special defensive boosts and we're back to 2 because I fixed it with Amnesia. Pretty much here, I'm just waiting for the cursed body to run to run out on my Lava Plume so I can actually do some damage. But that would have to be, I'd have to think about that too, because if I see right here, I was like, do I go for it or not? Because they're probably just going to go for Destiny Bomb. But they didn't. They went for Shadow Ball. So I got another Amnesia up here. I was like, do I go for it this turn or do I go for a different move? So Gengar's going to go for Acid Spray again. They're continually dropping my special defense here. I just went for Lava. I attacked this time and they lived. I was like, please burn. I was like, okay, they're definitely going to do it this turn. So they went for Destiny Bomb. I went for Amnesia or Curse this turn. I didn't want to attack them at all. So I increased my special defense by 2 stages. Now, Destiny Bond, if you use it in concession, consecutively, obviously it's going to fail. So Destiny Bond did fail there, and Lava Plume is going to take out the Destiny Bond Gengar. Now, if you do use Destiny Bond continually, I mean, technically Destiny Bond was the last move it used, but it failed on the last turn it used, so that's where it didn't get to fight me. Next Pokemon is Dragapult. It's going to use Dragon Darts. This is doing absolutely nothing, so I thought, gee, it'd be great if I could get a burn on this Dragapult here. Like, at the moment, I'm getting a Slugma sweep right. Only on PIMPNITE Challenge. So I had 3 more recovers left. Then they salty swapped out their Dragapult there because they couldn't do any damage. And then they went into Miraidon. See what I'm talking about? Their back end was stacked, you know. They weren't playing any games. So I thought, all right, well, if I could get a burn here, and get I've still got 18 Lava Plumes. It could be the Charizard and Lugia situation overall, like, again, right? So now they're going to go for Electro Drift, and I really wanted to see their face when they seen the Electro Drift damage on my Slugma, because even after that, since it's a physical contacting move, Flame Body activated as well, which is even more hilarious. So now they're completely stuffed, right? There's nothing they can do. Slugma is going to be able to sweep their team here unless they get a huge crit. So now they're going to have a try using Dragapult, which does less damage than Electro Drift there. And I'm just sort of pounding away with the Lava Plume too. I wanted to conserve the PP2, and then they salty cancel the battle. So there you go, Slugma defeats Miraidon and Dragapult there. I would have got a Slugma sweep there for sure. I definitely have never got one of them before, but sadly they cancelled. I can't say I would have won 100% until I fainted their team, because they could have easily have got an Electro Drift crit there. Anyway, let's get on to the 6th and final battle. This is a battle against Super Bowser, and we have a team of Bulbasaurs. 6 Bulbasaurs versus 2 Slugma and 2 Magcargo. So what could possibly go wrong here? So Bulbasaur is going to put me to sleep. and it's going to use Sludge Bomb against me. But as you know, this is the bulky Slugma, so I'm able to tank a lot of hits from this this Bulbasaur right here, like a ton of them. Now, if you were to do a Mega Magcargo, what type would you make it? Would you keep it as a rock type? Would you keep it as a fire type? Or would you have like a mono fire or a mono rock? Or would you give it like a change in type? I think it'd be pretty cool. Trying to think of snails, right? I guess you could say snails, do they fall under the insect sort of category? Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking like bug, but bug would be equally as bad as well. So I don't know what this Bulbasaur set was, but it got burned here. It was like a tackle Bulbasaur. I think they were trying to disrespect me with really, really weak moves like Vine Whip and Tackle and stuff like that. I totally would never do that myself. So that's the end of Bulbasaur. Its bulb was a bit sore after that. Next Pokemon is Bulbasaur 5. Now I'm trying to think of a good type like that's fire and rock. I guess you could have ground, but then it'd be still 4 times weak to water. Trying to get her away from this 4 time. Wait, give it water. No, give it. You could give it some sort of ability when it gets hit by water, it absorbs it, and it thinks it's like steam or something. Kind of like Colossal, I guess you could say, but not a fire move. So here comes Bulbasaur 4, and it's going to fall on the floor because I got hit it with a Flare Blitz. So, Magcargo is sweeping through these Bulbasaurs here. Now, I was curious what one of these obviously is going to be Terra, so I was, kind of curious which one that would be. Obviously, it's very weak to fire, so like, do they have a flying type or do they have a ground type, a rock type, or a water type Terra? So I go for Flare Blitz again, and this Bulbasaur has a Focus Sash. Oh, wait, no, it had Endure. Sorry, it didn't have a Focus Sash, it had Endure. My bad. Now it's going to be eating a berry, and that berry is, looks like a Salac berry or... Yeah, Salac berry. So it won't take much to outspeed a Magcargo, let's be real about that. And now it's going to go for a Seed Bomb. But Seed Bomb was not enough to take it out, and it also gave me a weak armor too. Now, I'm just thinking here. So Fire... Nah, you couldn't do Fire and Dragon? Maybe like a Dragon Snail? Nah, that doesn't make... Fairy? Fire and Water! Yo, like Volcanions typing. Fire and Water. Like, it comes out of like... You know how you got like hot springs and stuff near volcanoes? It could come out of one of them, and it could have Steam Eruption as well. That'd be cool. Like Steam Eruption. That'd be a great move for Mega Magcargo. Steam Eruption. What do you guys think? What would you do? I quite like that idea of being near volcanoes and being near hot springs and stuff. All right, next Pokemon is Bulbasaur. And this one is shiny, so you know this one's going to be the Terra. So I've got 2 Pokemon left. I've got Slugma, which is a Focus Sash set, which you know, and I've still got my Magcargo in the back too. But I wasn't sure if I could set up against this, and then it pulled out the Terra Water, which is very, very, very bad because that dominates my entire team. Even from something like crappy like Bulbasaur, right? So I'm going to be able to live on 1 health there, which is good. We got that Focus Sash. Now, the move I used here was Memento because I had a feeling that they would probably have something good for fire type. So I saved that Memento and dropped Bulbasaur's attack and special attack. I don't know whether it's a physical attack or a special attack. Its stats aren't really... the greatest there. Last Pokemon is Magcargo. So I thought, right, well, I've got Terra Grass and I've got Shell Smash. Now, do they have a Focus Sash? Do I go for Shell Smash here? This is what I was thinking. Am I better off just going for Terra Blast Grass twice? Would that not be a better idea to go for? I don't know. So I went for the Terra Blast Grass here. I know they're going to go for Terra Water, obviously. Unless they predicted some sort of, different area. So, Bulbasaur outsped... Okay, Bulbasaur outsped me there. And it did 2 damage to Terra Water. So, this turn I went for Shell Smash. Like, alright, this is good. I can go for Terra Blast Grass. The only bad thing that could happen here if Bulbasaur had some sort of, like... Fire, flying... something to hit me for super effective, really. That was like my only thing I was worried about. So I had White Herb, so my stats were, crap and stuff. And I've got Terra Blast, so I went for that. Now, it turns out this Bulbasaur had Choice Scarf. and it did not actually have Focus Sash. It was a Choice Scarf, Terra Water, Bulbasaur. I nearly would have got rolled by that. That is the end of the battle, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's video on Magcargo and Slugma. Tell me all about it in the comment section. Drop a like on the video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.